everybody. Sean Colburn. First of all, I would like to address one thing that I don't believe that I heard stated. As far as the timelines for the police audit, I would like to recommend that we go back. A previous speaker had mentioned as far as 2018. I think if you look back at the Mass Peace Officers Standard, the Post Training Commission was established as part of the criminal justice system reform to improve policing and enhance public confidence in law enforcement by implementing a fair process for mandatory certification, discipline, and training for all officers in the Commonwealth. The Post database of sustained allegations and disciplinary actions shows one disciplinary action reported by the Canton Police Department for the last 24 years. That is very eye-opening and troubling. I mean, if you look at the neighboring cities and towns, Stoughton had approximately 30. Randolph had approximately 17. Sharon had approximately 7. Milton had approximately 22. There was one report filed in the Canton Police Department, and that report was filed while the person was a Boston police officer that had transferred to the Canton Police Department. If you go back to 2007, there was a lawsuit settled in the Lopalato case by one of our officers that has been promoted twice since then. And there was an out-of-court settlement for close to $300,000. And it's not even listed in the Post reports. We have to go back as far as it takes to give this community some sense of trust and transparency. And I ask you gentlemen and you ladies to please help us. Thank you.
Welcome, young jerks. Mike Crawford. I have a special guest. Let's bring her right up. She just ran for Canton Select Board. She didn't win a seat, but she beat an incumbent on her first election. Really happy to have her back. And they won a huge special town meeting vote for this police audit. She's a leader in Canton and in the free Karen Reed thing, too. Love her. I'm so happy she's back on the show tonight. We were just talking in the green room. I wish you guys could hear some of the convo, but we'll save that for another time. Welcome back, Rita Lombardi.
Thank you, Mike. It's so good to be back. I love to be back on your show. I love your show. You have a great show. And it was great chatting back in the green room, too.
It was, wasn't it?
Yes.
It's we got so much to catch up on.
Yes. So much to catch up on. And hello, everybody. I see all the love. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. It means so much.
And I'm feeling a little loopy tonight because I'm extra tired. I've been going all out like crazy for days, doing shows and dog walks I'm doing dog walks tonight, 2 of them after the show. So it started at 7 a.m. So I've been going around the clock, and it's all about Karen Reed and this trial. And we're going to talk about that tonight. But we also want to talk about what we just kicked off was the Canton Police Audit. Where do you want to start? Do you want to start with the Karen Reed stuff, or do you want to go with the police audit?
I'll go wherever you want to go. I mean, I'll go wherever you want to go. So whatever the audience wants to talk about.
Right, that's what I was going to say. I wonder what the audience wants to hear first. Just waiting for the comments to come in. But you know what? I think I would like to start with. Oh, I'm just looking. Mike,
the audit would be kind of easy.
They're making jokes about me. Mike is dog tired. I really am. I'm like on another plane right now. I'm just like goofy, happy. And I'm happy too, because one thing I want to thank everyone about 9,000 subs we crossed over.
Wow.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Yeah. April was a huge month, and it's continuing in May. So I just want to thank everyone. We're going to continue to bring you the best shows we can. You know, I've been telling people I want to go every night with this Karen Reed thing, because this is so important right now.
Absolutely. It looks like they want to know about the jury.
The jury. Oh, yeah, that's what I want to talk about first, too. It is the jury. That's what some people did say audit, but that's what I wanted to talk about right from the get-go, because Grant Smith Ellis has been reporting, and he's putting out some stuff about the jury and what it looks like is going on in the eyes of the jury based on the testimony, and none of us trust him, obviously.
Right.
We're all broadcasting the trial. We see what the testimony is. We see the prosecutors. We see the defense. We see the family of John O'Keefe. What we don't see is we don't see Karen Reed supporters, which are in the audience from the angle, and we don't see the jurors. You're in that room.
Yes.
What? Tell us about it. Tell us all about what we're missing, what we should know.
So, you know, it is, the room is very tiny. It's very tiny. And I actually watched a clip, I think last night on Court TV, which shows the courtroom. I mean, we're like on top of each other. It's really tight. The O'Keefe family is on, you know, we're like kitty cornered in a square. So the O'Keefe family is on one side, and right in the other corner, you know, like this, is the Karen Reed's family and friends. And it's tight. You know, there's like 10 people on each side, and then you have the defense, and right next to where Karen is sitting, like within almost an arm's reach, is the O'Keefe family. So it's really a tight courtroom. The judge and the witness is sitting right next to the judge. It's not like the larger courtroom, so it's tight. And what I love is that the jury can see everything. And the larger courtroom is nice. I do hope they take the feedback from the defense and reorganize that room. I would hate to have been somebody that was convicted with 4 to 6 people's jurors looking at the back of the heads. That's wrong, and that needs to be fixed. But in the smaller courtroom, all of the jurors can see everything that is going on. And I can tell you that ever since, you know, the first day I saw the jury walk in, I am confident that this jury is seasoned enough in life. You know, these people, they're not like in their 20s or even in their, you know, some people might be in their 30s, but you have a mature group of people. It's made up of 10 women right now and 6 men. So who knows how it's going to shake out. And they pretty much, in my observation, somebody showed me some of the stuff that Grant published, and I don't know what courtroom Grant is sitting in, but it's not the same courtroom I'm sitting in. And I think he is, I don't know where he's getting that observation. So what I see is the jury sits there and they're very diligent in taking notes. And, you know, I'm looking at the witness. I mean, we're all just sitting there, and, you know, people are going up testifying. And I will say that I see the same thing everybody else sees. And, you know, I would say that there's significant lies in the testimony, significant. And everybody knows it. And those jurors are not dumb. And I know people wanted to know, you know, and pretty much, I won't say they're stoic, but they're poker face. And as they should be, I guess, you know. And we are too. You know, I mean, it's a sad situation. You have the O'Keefes on one side, the Reeds on the other side, and you have a jury, and you know, it's a sad situation. But when they did show John's arm, I didn't see it because I wasn't looking at them. I was looking at the picture. But some of the jurors raised their eyebrows. And there was another point in which John's arm was up. And this time I made a point to look over. And look, you could put that picture in front of a first grade class. And there is no doubt it would be unanimous that the kids would know immediately what caused those injuries. So, you know, from my perspective, I don't know where the prosecution's going with this case.
Right.
I really don't, because they're not going to be able to, you know, we spent a week in the courtroom and all you hear is, you know, I hit him. And my husband, which I don't know what they're trying to do with the husband, trying to make it like she thought they were married and she never called him her husband. You know, that's imaginary stuff. And, you know, I think it's like a house of cards, and I really think it's going to fall before the defense even gets up on deck. I really do. I don't see how they're going to tell the story and thread it together to make sense, because it doesn't.
There's too much. It seems like to me there's too much that could go wrong. It could even happen tomorrow. Tomorrow could be very interesting. We've all been chattering about it.
Well, Katie McLaughlin. I mean,
Yeah.
you know,
Look what happened there. Exactly.
oh my God. I mean, you hear Sarif go up, you hear the lieutenant go up, you hear other people go up and speak, and Katie just took the cake. Katie just took the cake, and she damaged her credibility so bad, so bad. And and it's, Tom interviewed me on the way in. I said, people can tell the truth, or the truth is coming out. So you can either tell the truth, or it's going to come out. So if you don't tell the truth, it will come out in a not so pretty way. And that's exactly what's about to happen to Katie. And the judge is doing everything she can to protect Katie, because Katie is the first voice to have said that she said she hit him. And, I feel bad, because it's going to come out that, she was instructed to do that and she went along. I mean,
Yeah, it's funny because I was saying that last night. I was saying I felt bad for Katie, even though I don't like what she did, and I totally feel for Karen Reed, like that she should be staring at Katie right now, like because Karen Reed's life is on the line here, and
absolutely. And people need to understand that. I know a lot of people want to get in the courtroom. There's 10 seats for the family and friends and whatever. And decisions have to be made on who is going to help Karen the most. And that is what this is all about. And anyone who, they're losing focus. Okay. The focus is on freeing Karen Reed. It has never changed. And until we free Karen Reed, it doesn't matter. That's the focus. And everybody needs to stay focused on that. And I'm honored to be in there to help her, to support her, and to see what this jury is doing. And I really feel good about this jury. I really do. I think that this is an intelligent jury. And I think that, they're regular people. Regular people. That's what they look like to me. Regular people.
and what would you said the ages are, 30 on up, you would guess.
Yeah.
What about the racial composition? Is it like mostly white, all white?
I think it's all white.
Okay.
It's all white. There's an Asian guy there, I think. Like I said, it's 10 women and 6 men, and I'm pretty sure it's all white. And that, I think that's just what it was. But they don't look like, they're all, in the professional world. I mean,
That's what I was gonna ask. Are they professional, blue collar? What do you think?
you can't tell,
Yeah.
the way they come in very comfortable clothes, and so, you really can't get an insight into their professions if they work. I imagine that if they don't work, some of them could be moms, some of them could be retired. I have no idea what their backgrounds are, but I'm watching them take notes, and they are diligently taking notes.
Good.
And just sitting there listening to the testimony, it's very obvious why Canton needs an audit. I mean, to let this case go forward, you have people, they sound incompetent. And now it's not just the police department, it's the fire department. And it's not from what I'm saying, it's from what they're saying.
Right.
And when Jackson and Unetti, Alan and David and Eliza rather, they're an unbelievable dream team. And the judge knows it. And here's another thing I'm going to say, right? So people said Friday that they noticed that when the judge clears her throat, he objects, and which is pretty interesting. And I'm going to say this, and I'm just going to state facts. People could draw their own conclusions, but it never made sense when the judge said that, about 2 weeks ago, when you object, I'm not going to have you give the reason why you object, just object. That never made sense to me, because every time you see in court, somebody objects and they state the basis for their objection. Never made sense to me. And now it makes sense to me. because Lally, we all know Lally doesn't know Jack, and he wouldn't know how to object. So if it's true, she's clearing her throat and he objects, the reason potentially for the lawyers not having to say why they object is because he doesn't know why he's objecting. He's just objecting. And so that was pretty interesting. That was a pretty interesting ruling that she did. And, maybe she'll remove that ruling. That would be nice. Then we wouldn't have this conspiracy thought. But it is kind of interesting. I've never, ever heard a judge say, when we go to trial, you can object, but you don't have to tell me why. Just object. Like, what is she trying to save time? Because that's certainly not what's happening in the courtroom. You have the jurors there and then you send them out and you bring them back and then you have a break here and a break there. It doesn't make any sense. So people are going to be watching. And if anybody's watching and they notice that, she's clearing her throat or doing a Carol Burnett, one of those. Carol Burnett, for anybody who doesn't know, Carol Burnett used to go like this when she said goodnight to her grandmother. If there's any coding going on in that room, it's going to be captured because it's all televised. Yep. And, I hope, because Alan Jackson did a fabulous job in trying to impeach Katie, and the judge denied it. And then when we came back from a break, Alan said, I want to go on record, and here's the basis for my objection. And he stated concrete reasons why his objection should have been sustained or allowed. And he didn't even get the words out of his mouth. She's like, yep, nope, denied. And she shut it right down.
Yep.
They know if they lose Katie as a witness, it's over.
It's done.
It's over. So, it's going to be interesting to see what happens tomorrow. It's going to be interesting. And I hope that anyone else who's testifying tells the truth, because the truth is coming out.
Yeah. And the truth will free you. The truth is what will protect you. These law enforcement and the first responders, if you want to protect yourself, tell the truth. I mean, that's
right. Tell the truth. It is coming out. Look at all the pictures that have surfaced today of Katie McLaughlin with Caitlin Albert. For her to say, I went to school with the. Did
you see the what is that guy? The clown millennial guy. What's that guy kid's name? He posted his little TikTok video and he was like, at the end, he's like, these Karen Reed loans, these psychos. Wouldn't it occur to you that if Katie was lying, that her friends on social media would expose her?
Well, they did.
Millennial moron.
Yeah.
Anybody thinks he's so smart. He's so smarmy too. Oh, he calls Karen Reed a psycho. He's a psycho.
He's a psycho.
He is.
This case,
boundless millennial. Yeah, I call him other names.
Yeah. This case is going to go down in history as a case of role reversal. You usually have the prosecution who does a great job at collecting evidence, securing the crime scene, processing the evidence. None of that happened. It's the defense saying, gimme. It took 14 months to get the autopsy photos and everything else. And, Karen has bared the burden of the testing of the evidence, and that's not right. And everything's a role reversal. And when the defense usually throws out a bunch of stuff, gaslighting to confuse the jury, here you have the prosecution doing that. And, it's a case like no other. It's a case like no other. And I really believe, is this ever going to get to the jury? I think it's going to fall before then. I think it's going to implode right before our eyes. And
I'm sorry. I love what you just said, but I'm also laughing at the comments right now.
What are they saying?
Our chat is blowing up, Rita. We got over 1,070 already. Like that usually takes an hour to get there. We're already at over 1,000 people. That's just YouTube.
Kelly says Broken Baker. I got to look at Broken Baker. People have been talking about. I don't know Broken Baker. I haven't seen that one yet.
I've seen him. He's good. 1,090 on YouTube, 453 on Twitter.
Wow.
We got like 15 people on Facebook, and we got one person on Twitch. Who's that person on Twitch? I love it. One person. But Feckless Millennial was a good one. And then this one came out of the blue. I don't know, but it's something I'm definitely worried about, Dawn. Is that Coffin Daffer behind you taking pictures?
What's he talking about?
You didn't see Coffin Daffer, what she did?
Oh, she was at 34th feet of you.
So I'm looking behind me like she could be in the window back there. Like, who knows? She could be. I don't know. You tell me.
Yeah,
is she going to show up tonight?
She's nutty, man. She's nutty. And then she was in a restaurant. Coffin Dagger was in a restaurant. She was in C.F. McCarthy's. And Mark Dufour was there. And he went in for lunch. And she happened to go in there for lunch. And, it got out that, he was having lunch with. He wasn't having lunch with her. She was there and they were talking. And, she's Jennifer. She just twists things to report however she reports, So, but yeah, she was in the hood.
There's something else. Yeah, she showed up at 34 at the home yesterday.
It's terrible.
Taking video. What a knucklehead.
She got right up to the door.
Yeah.
I mean, then audacity.
And then she ran off. Like totally got made and ran off. It was so funny.
I drove by this morning. I think it was this morning. That's my neighborhood. And I think there's a no trespassing sign out front. I saw a red sign right in front.
The owners are pissed at her. They sent it to Turtle Boy.
What did they do?
They sent it to Turtle Boy.
Oh, yes.
The homeowners. They sent the video.
Yeah.
That's why it's out.
Yeah.
They're not happy.
Yeah, that's rude. I mean, what does she think she is?
Yeah. We had a super chat come in from John Barron, 1921. I want to thank him. He says, Rita, what's the racial breakdown of the jurors? We just did discuss that. So we did answer that for you, which is mostly white and like one Asian guy, it seems like.
Yeah, there's like one Asian guy. Yeah, but I will tell you, I'm comfortable with them. I'm watching them taking notes. And, sometimes I think it does get boring. But when they lie, when the lions happen, nobody's, they're all paying attention. It's hard not to, It's like, I sit there because I live in the town and I sit there. I heard the lieutenant speak and I heard, some other people speak, and there's no way that what they're saying is truthful. There's a lot of stuff they're saying that's not truthful, and it's going to come out. It's going to come out. Now,
are you planning on going every day? Are you at court every day?
I'm going to go the days that I go. So I'm going tomorrow.
What time is 9 a.m. tomorrow?
Yes. So it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, full days, and Tuesday and Thursday, half days.
Those are the Tuesday and Thursdays are the day it starts at 10 versus 9. Is that it?
No, I think it starts at 9.
Okay,
no.
It starts at 9 on all days.
Yes, it goes 9 to 1 on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Okay. Maybe because the lawyers give the lawyers a half day to do what they have to do.
Right.
And I'll be there as I'm there. So that's all I can say to that.
Now, in regards to the jurors, when you were there for the cross-examination of Katie.
Oh yeah.
How were they acting during that? Did they seem?
They're watching.
Grant made it seem like they were angry at Jackson because he was too hard, and I don't think he was hard on Katie at all. I just think he was asking her questions that she didn't want to answer. How did the jury react to that? Who do you think that they were favored, Jackson or Katie?
Oh, Jackson. Oh, Jackson.
Why would you say that? Why do you think they would favor Jackson? Just because you felt that way, or because they showed signs of it?
She was not a credible witness.
Yeah.
She was not credible.
But did they show any signs? The jury show any signs that they felt that way?
They were taking notes.
Yeah.
He said something, they take notes. It's the note taking. It's the note taking. And it's clear and that's what's the beauty of the small courtroom is, you can't, the witness is not 20 feet away from the jury. The witness, this like 3 feet, that witness gets off the stand and that witness parades right in front of that jury. And, I always say they can smell deceit.
Right. I
so
mean, did it feel like to me watching it on the video? It didn't seem like he was bullying her.
he
It seemed
wasn't
like she
bullying
was
her.
being nasty back, though. Like that's what it seemed like to me. Is that the way it felt in person?
I would say, listen, whatever Kate, I saw what Grant wrote, none of that was true. None of that was true. Zero. And we have a professional trial going on here. We have juries that are acting respectfully. We have a prosecutor who's acting respectfully. And the defense, people are acting respectfully. And, it's a trial. I mean, it's a trial. And I don't see none of what Grant saw, I saw. And I'm in the same courtroom.
Awesome.
So, take that for what that's worth. I'm not here tweeting out stuff. I'm not here trying to get an audience on Twitter. I'm here reporting facts. And, I don't know what Grant's motive is, but none of that was an accurate depiction of what was happening in that courtroom.
Mm.
None of it was.
Not surprising to me. That's why I wanted to get you on the show and make sure
Yeah.
that we told the truth because none of us can trust Grant. And I think Jessica Machado is going to be court reporting this week. She said she's
I,
going to try to get in there. So that would be good if we had someone like her that was reporting on it as it went down, right?
I ran into her yesterday.
Yes.
I had my frame shirt on. I was in Rent Them Outlets, and I went down there, and I walked by somebody, and they go, "Free Karen Reed." So I turn around. So she said, "Hey, I'm Jess," and I said, "Oh yeah, I met her before." So I had my frame shirt on. She goes, "I knew it was you," but then when I saw the sweatshirt, I really knew it was you.
Oh, that's great. That's so funny.
Yeah. So she's great. I talked to her.
Yeah. Now,
And I hope she gets in because it's not easy to get in. And I'm going to tell you, the media people are switching off. Everybody's switching off except for Grant. And maybe it's because people say he's there at 3:30 in the morning. If he's there at 3:30 in the morning, then you know what? Good, he deserves a seat. If he's willing to do that, he deserves a seat. But it is
I'm
kind
just wondering how he can do that and collect a disability check.
I know somebody else said that too. I don't know. I don't know.
Because I mean, I'm a working guy, and I don't think I could do it. Just for
No,
my
I don't think
body, I don't think I could sit out there. Like I don't know how. But anyways, enough
yes.
about him. Like
Yeah.
it's F him. I want to ask more about the jury. Do you feel like they lean in more when Alan Jackson speaks versus Adam
Nope.
Lally?
Nope. I think that when you say lean in, you mean like
Listen more intently.
Do I, well, Alan and David and Liza, she hasn't gone up yet, really, but they got the facts. They have the facts. So they are brick by brick, they are dismantling the prosecution's case. And so, in that sense, they are leaning in because and I got to tell you, when the witnesses go up and the prosecution talks about the apron at the fire station and shoveling snow, what the prosecution has is lally-splaining all week. It's just a bunch of talk with nothing.
Yeah.
And that's really what we have seen from the witnesses. But it's a bunch of talk. Now, instead of with nothing, it's a bunch of talk with lies. And so
Right.
when I think this jury is getting accustomed to the defense dismantling the
Everything.
stuff that never made sense in the first place.
Right.
And so and the judge, it's clear her bias. Her bias is not going unnoticed in that courtroom. And we sit there very straight face. We don't, we know the truth. We know the truth. So when they say stuff like Karen said, her husband, we know that's not true. We know the truth. And we know that the defense will have their opportunity to present the truth in proper order. And I think this jury is sitting there going, okay, well, how did you kill him? You know, but I think the picture of the arm was the nail in the coffin. Really, I really
Yeah.
do. I think they lost that jury, and Auntie Bev is doing everything she can not to allow Alan Jackson to impeach Katie McLaughlin, and I think she's going to have a difficult time doing that and doing that legitimately because Katie McLaughlin should be impeached. And I'm sorry. I know she's 28 years old. And look, what this has done to this town, it's unconscionable. It has torn this town apart. And I feel for these young kids who were put in this situation to lie. I do feel for her in a way, but at the end of the day, her lie was okay putting an innocent woman in jail. And I understand the pressure she must have been under. But now is the time, Katie, to tell the truth. Because if you don't, you're going to go down with these people.
Mm.
And the truth is coming out.
I wonder too, like, is it lying or does she really believe this shit? Like, because I almost feel like all these firefighters are talking to each other, EMTs,
Let me
and
tell you,
they have a bias to support people they know, and they
they
don't
all went to school
recognize
together.
it. So they're making the story. Do you know what I mean?
They all went to school together.
Yeah.
They all graduated together. You got Katie, you got Caitlin, you have, I think Matt Kelly was in that class. And I thought he was a good witness. And these kids all know each other.
Yeah,
They
they
know
do.
each other. And for Katie to stand there and call Jen McCabe
Acquaintance.
billion witness,
Yeah, and the other one, the Caitlin, an acquaintance.
an
I
acquaintance.
mean, I asked our audience last night,
Yeah.
do you call anybody an acquaintance? Do you use that word? Do you use that word acquaintance?
No.
Yeah, I don't either.
If I'm trying to say, well, I know them, but not really well,
Mm.
an acquaintance is somebody that maybe I went to school with, but I see maybe once every 20 years or something. You know what I mean? No, Caitlin is not an acquaintance, as we can see by these pictures. These pictures show that there was a relationship. Plus, people have exposed Venmo transactions. These kids went to school together since 6th grade.
Yeah, and there's pictures
6th
that came
grade.
out. She
Yeah.
was, I also talked about the fact that they were on the same cross country team. I
Yes.
played 3 sports in high school. I also played a lot of other sports outside of, public schools and, club teams, things like that. They're always teammates to me, like, or friends or teammates. Like, I would never use the word an acquaintance. That just, to me, weird. I mean, I look back on our track team, which was really large. Maybe it would be a little different because you're not, I was a sprinter, so maybe the long distance guys I didn't know as well. But with a cross country team, those teams always seem smaller, and those people ran together every day. It's that to me, calling her an acquaintance when she was a teammate. That's what I would call any of my friends from high school, especially like the wrestling team, the soccer teams I played on. Those are my teammates, like,
Right.
forever. Like, you know what I
Right.
mean? I would never say they're an acquaintance. To me, that seems so staged and thought ahead of time to coached. It was coached by, and it was badly coached.
Right. And here's another thing she said, right? So she said, Officer Good, Detective Good, whatever he was. I just got a message. Hold on a minute. They definitely had a graduation party for Caitlin at that house, and Katie went for sure. That's what I just got a message. And, and I believe that absolutely 100%. Look at the pictures we've seen today.
Yeah.
Look at the pictures we've seen today. So what's happening here, and I want to message Katie right now, what's happening, Katie, is because you were disingenuous on that stand, other people who are innocent could get dragged in. And that is on you. You've got to tell the truth if you want to protect other people from getting dragged into this.
Right.
It's just wrong.
And stop playing games. Like, like
Tell
this
the
comment
truth.
right here. I love this. This comment from Deanna says, but you'd still say a high school friend. That's exactly what I would do. That's what
Right.
anyone would do. I just don't think you call people that you were friends in high school and then partied with him after high school. You went to Maine with him. You went to Cape Cod. This is 2 years after high school.
Yeah.
And
She
you're,
was in school with her since 6th grade.
yeah. And then
1
she
through
did, now
5.
there's pictures today of her at the Bridgewater State apartment
Yep.
of Caitlin's. Like that was even further than 2 years out of high school. So you're talking 4 years out of high school now. They are friends. They were friends. I
Right.
don't know. I mean, maybe
Maybe
you're,
this
you're not close anymore. That could have said that, but to play this word game, it just sounds so phony. And I think the jury saw
Oh,
right
the
through it.
juror sees it, the juror sees it. And then she said, like, Officer Good, they call him Goody. And she made some reference in what she said that she assumed, matter of fact, I wrote it down. She said she assumed that it was the officer. She didn't know. She knows exactly who he is.
Right.
She knows exactly who he is.
Yeah, the firefighters always know the cops after a few years on the job. Come on.
She knew him anyways.
Right. Even
You know,
before that. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And she knew him anyway. I was just
Yeah.
looking at my notes. She knew him anyways, because she lived in Canton.
There you go.
And, for her to say, and she said on the stand, she not as of today, she knows that the Alberts own 34 Fairview. Those were her words on the
Right.
stand.
And she couldn't tell you
Alan
when,
Jackson.
and she couldn't tell you when she found that out.
No,
Remember?
she said, yeah, she said, well, she said, she goes, as of today, I now know who lives in
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, but she
I mean,
didn't. She couldn't tell at Jackson when she figured that out. She had no
no,
recollection of when she found out.
biggest Pinocchio, with a cross around her neck.
Yeah.
With the cross around her
Yeah.
neck. And I kept looking
Right.
at her and saying, please tell the truth. Please tell the truth. And just looking at her, she knows who I am. And, my kids went to school with her,
Yep.
and she knows who I am. And I really was hoping that she would be truthful. And, they are going to discredit her, I'm sure, in a major way. Everyone is coming out with evidence that needs to be heard by the
Yeah.
jury. It's Karen's right to have this information in front of the jury. And I'd love to see how Auntie Bev is going to try to keep this out. And let
Right.
me tell you, if Auntie Bev doesn't allow Alan Jackson to do and cross-examine her the way he needs to, the truth is going to come out through the other witnesses. There's no way around it.
Exactly. How about Caitlin Albert now? She's going to get some
Exactly.
questions asked about the prior
Exactly.
testimony. We've had this attorney. I think you saw one of the interviews we did with him. Attorney Mark Betterow from New York City. He's actually from Framingham. He grew up in Framingham, but he's a New York lawyer now. Big time, this
Yep.
guy. He's been on a bunch of times. Criminal defense attorney, a former assistant district attorney with the Manhattan office in New York City.
Yep.
I mean, he's got experience. He represented an FBI agent at one point and won the case.
Really?
Yeah, Betterow Law. He just made a comment, and
I see it.
he's
I
been
saw it the
so
other
right
day.
on. He said, like we discussed it the other night, it was only a matter of time before people with a conscience started leaking photos and info exposing Kate McLaughlin's false testimony. He said that, and that's exactly, we all said it too. And
Yeah.
that's exactly what happened. Except
Oh
New
my
Millennial.
God,
New
exactly.
Millennials said it too, mocking us, like thinking it wouldn't happen, and then it happened. It's just hilarious.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what they're thinking. They're going in there, and they're thinking that nobody's watching.
Right.
And do you think it's just us in the room? And I heard that when she left the room and she went, she left the room, the lieutenant who later testified, embraced her and kind of comforted her. And I do feel bad for her. I do, but she's 28 years old.
Right.
And I hope that she's listening. I hope her friends are listening. Please encourage her to get back on that stand and tell the truth, because it's not going to end well with her if she doesn't.
She'd be a hero. She'd be a hero. A
Yeah,
lot
I
of
mean,
people would like.
yeah, it's these people are not going to succeed in this murder trial. They are not. The story that they are trying to thread together is not cohesive, and it's going to come down. And I really think, my personal opinion is, because we all know the facts of this case, that I think the house of cards is going to fall before the defense even gets their shot. I really do.
How many people? How many people you think we have watching on Twitter right now?
I have no idea. I don't have Twitter.
1493.
Really?
Crazy, Rita. You're bringing the numbers tonight. Our numbers keep going up every night. I can't believe it, actually. We had a good comment here. A new super chat.
Oh,
And
you know what? I want to be careful of witness intimidation. So listen.
Smack 617. Let me read it though. She says, "Can we please talk about Katie with the cross on? How did you feel about it? I am Irish Catholic and I would never wear that for sympathy and lying." I will say that we have talked about that probably too much. People call it a crucifix, Katie. I didn't like it. I mean, I think it's just why do you have to advertise your faith? It's just kind of weird, but
Well,
to
I
each
think
their
it's
own.
okay. And listen, I want to be careful because, um, speaking directly to her, I don't mean any offense, and I'm not trying to witness intimidate or anything.
Well,
I
she's already testified. I don't
already
think we can witness
testified.
intimidate her.
Right.
She's not likely to be brought back up. The defense isn't. I don't think the defense wants her back up. They won. They got what they wanted. I
They-
don't see
no,
any
I
reason.
right.
So I don't think she's a witness anymore. So I don't think we have to worry about that with her,
Yeah,
at least.
right. Well, yeah, you're right. You're right. And, um, I mean, this is all new,
Yeah,
but, what I implore everyone to do is to tell the truth. And,
exactly.
because the jury can see, the jury can see.
And I would say that for other witnesses. If you
Yeah,
think you're going to be called tomorrow and you might be happy to be listening, tell the truth. Don't don't
exactly.
don't don't be a sucker
Exactly.
for these people. Like, don't lie for
Right.
these people. They're going
It's not
down.
worth it.
They're not gonna be able to protect you. You know,
No.
they're lying from them is gonna expose you because
Right.
people are too many people are paying attention. Too many.
Right. And I don't see them threading the case together. I mean, you just look, the jury went to 34 Fairview and looked at the rear view and saw that the taillight was missing. Well, the whole thing was missing. I mean, if you're in a car accident and you smash up your fender, do they remove the whole fender? I mean,
Mm,
they leave it there. They leave it there. They leave whatever is still there intact.
yep.
And,
How crazy was that?
the whole
Yeah,
piece was missing.
yep. That was crazy. The whole thing going to Fairview too. It's like so weird. That whole thing where they haven't even established how they
They
think
have
that,
right.
it's crazy.
They spent a week with, "I hit him, I hit him, I hit
Yeah.
him." That's what
Yeah.
they spent a week on,
Mm.
and
And they're all conflicting. Like, some people heard it, some people didn't. Some people only heard it now 2 years later, and mostly in the reports, there was nothing about it. Like that, written reports are everything.
right.
And when your written reports, your immediate written reports don't show what your testimony now is 2 years later after you talk to Proctor.
Yes,
It's
and
it's
that's come out
it's
too.
all of this is just BS. So yeah, I
Yep,
think it's all gonna be discredited at this point. I'm really interested to see what happens tomorrow. A question I had about Grant again, just
yeah,
a funny one, real quick, and just in terms of sitting so close together too.
yeah,
I'll probably ask more of a follow up on, Karen's right there next to John O'Keefe's family.
yeah.
That must be a little awkward. I just wonder sometimes if they are able to kind of spy on those private conversations between Karen and
No,
her lawyers. I wonder if Grant can. And
no,
I
they
no.
can't. No, and
Okay.
and it's sad. It's sad, I mean, I look at the O'Keefes and, it's sad. It's sad for everybody. I mean, they lost John and they lost Karen. Karen was, I mean, the dad loved Karen. I don't know anything about the mom or or the brother or, the sister-in-law, but, the dad adored Karen. And it's very sad for everybody in that courtroom. But it's not right to have an innocent woman framed. It's just not. And so justice has to prevail for not only Karen, but for John. You
And what
know,
about
with
people
the
are asking about the smell of Grant? Can you guys smell his cannabis in the courtroom?
uh, I'm not into sniffing Grant. I have heard from people that there is an odor there. I suppose if you sit out at 3:30 in the morning, I don't know what the deal is. I haven't noticed anything. I haven't. So, he sits there with his computer with all the stickers on the computer. Um, pounding away and doing his thing. And, except for the tweets that I saw that he put out, um, you know, um, those tweets are off base. They're off base.
Yep.
They're kind of fantasy, really. It's not an accurate depiction of what's going on in that courtroom. That courtroom is running smooth.
Good.
Yeah.
Nick Rocco just made a good question that I actually want to ask too. He said Karen is doing great besides stress for being in a trial. How do
Yeah.
you think Karen is holding up through this? Watching her, what do
Well,
you
I
see?
mean, Karen knows the truth. Karen knows the truth is on her side. And so it is stressful, I'm sure. But, like somebody else said the other night, and Karen's like part of the defense team. She's right there working.
Absolutely.
Karen is an extremely intelligent woman.
Sharp.
She's sharp and she's a great person. Her whole family, beautiful people, friends, everybody, beautiful people. And the best you could imagine in this country. They really are. They are the best. And, she knows the truth is on her side. And she knows that when the defense gets up there, it's coming out. And the prosecution is going to have a difficult time. Alan Lally's going to have a difficult time. Because I don't think that he will have ever been up against. I don't think he's ever been up against the likes of this dream team. And what they're doing right now when the prosecution is presenting and they dismantle everything that he has presented, wait till they start presenting.
Right.
If he thinks he has problems now, wait till they
Right.
wait till they come out with whatever they have.
Yeah.
It's not going to be pretty, but it's going to be the truth. It's going to be
Exactly.
the truth.
I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see the defense. Jane H made a comment. She said she's going to be a lawyer after this, I bet. What do you think Karen Reed will do? Like after she's found innocent, let's just envision this. Karen Reed is innocent. What's her future going to look like from there? What do you think I feel like she could do anything she wants at that point. What do you think?
I think she can do anything she wants to. And I think, this is, she has lost 2.5 years of her life. She can never get that back. And she has lost John. She can never get him back. And whatever she does, I know that she will do well. And, she's an amazing person. She's a strong person. She's resilient. And thank God she is who she is, because anybody else might have folded. And I wonder how many people are sitting in jail that were in the same situation as Karen, but they didn't have the money to defend themselves. So they had
all the time. Did you ever see that? Did you see that documentary, Trial 4?
Here it is. What, 30 years later? Here we are.
Yeah.
20 years later.
One of those guys pled guilty, and one of those guys did what Karen Reed did, and he had to go to trial 4 times before he got what he needed, which was, and the state still effed him. They dropped the charges, but they're like, he's guilty, but we're going to have to. I mean, that's what I'm afraid they're going to do to Karen, too, is they're going to end up like if their case goes so badly, they can just withdraw the charges before they even get a jury verdict.
I don't think they will. Do you think they will?
I don't, but you never know. I mean, the way this is going, you never know. Like it just this, like you said, it could blow up before we even get the defense. I mean, it could get really. I don't know how they're going to have Proctor in the stand if they call him on the stand. Even Bukaki, like how are these guys going to hold up? I don't know. I know they're experienced police officers. They've obviously been on the stand before, but I just don't know how they're going to handle it.
I don't see how they're going to do it. I really don't see how they're going to do it. I mean, the paramedics can't even do it.
Right.
So the fire department couldn't even do it.
Yeah.
So, and all they've done is make Canton look worse. I mean, we know we got issues in the police department. Now, clearly we got issues in the fire department.
Exactly.
And, I just, I really, this is a case like no other. So I don't think we can sit here and say it's going to go to the jury and this is what the jury is going to do. I have questioned from the beginning whether this will ever be turned over to the jury, because I think it's going to, I think it's going to implode.
Maybe they need to audit the fire department. That's what I've been hearing a lot now too.
Oh, you know what? They have not done themselves any favor by putting these witnesses up there.
Right.
Not at all. Not at all. It's only made it worse. So, we're going to see. We're going to see what happens. You know, what do they
It
say?
is. We got a question. It's a full day tomorrow. It is 9 to 4 p.m. tomorrow, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And somebody said the Canton cops are on tomorrow. I have no
Yeah,
idea.
I have heard intelligence that Canton cops are going to be on the stand tomorrow.
That will be interesting.
And
You know,
I've even heard there could be some fireworks. We'll see. We'll see. But
yeah.
it seems like it seems like they're due. So I think it's going to be a big day tomorrow, Monday morning, 9 a.m. We'll be streaming. Everyone else will be streaming as well. It's going to be another long day, and I can't wait for it tomorrow.
I got to believe that they huddled and said, okay, week number one, they were on trial, 4 days. The defense is up 4, the prosecution is 0. So, maybe they're going to try to move the ball forward tomorrow by putting the cops up. But I really, I don't know what they're going to say and how they're going to say it with credibility.
I think we're breaking records tonight, Rita.
Are we
Your
really?
comeback is huge, 1,648. I swear to God, I don't think I've ever gotten this many live on YouTube. We've come close, but this is a big number tonight, Rita.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Well, it's great to be back with you, Mike. I
Right?
missed you. Yeah.
Now, we didn't even talk about your Canton election because you were on here, you ran for select board. It was a great campaign. I gotta say, I hope you're proud of what you did.
Oh, it was fun. It was fun. It was so much fun. Yeah, I mean, I got in at the 11th hour, and look what we did. It was amazing, and it was an amazing ride. And I still want to have a big celebration, but I want to have a celebration with Karen too afterwards. And it was. I did what I wanted to do, and I shook it up. And we did knock Tom Theodore off. As much as I like Tom, he wasn't effective in what he was doing. So, and the town saw that. So Tom, we knocked him off, and
you
I'm going to continue.
defeated it. You got more votes than an incumbent, a standing incumbent. That's amazing.
Chairman, the chairman.
Is this your first like run for election?
And I ran as a team. I'm going to say I ran as a team. I told all my voters to vote for me and Trish. I told them all. So a vote for me was a vote for Trish.
And she won. She got the most votes.
Run as a team. She did not want to run as a team, and that was her choice. But I still ran as a team because I felt that you needed both of us in there. And I think now that she's in there by herself, she's saying, you didn't run as a team, so you're there, and it is what it is. So I'm not going to run again. What I am going to do is continue to do what I do. And I'm going to show up. And that's what I encourage everybody to do. If there's one learn from this, it's listen, pay attention to what's going on in your own towns because it starts in our own towns. Pay attention. You don't have just show up at the meetings, look at the agenda, go for the stuff that's important to you. Ask questions, hold them accountable. And that is what I hope people walk away with from this. You don't have to sit on the board to make a change, to make a difference. I'm still going to do my thing, and they know it. And I'm still going to work for my town and help and share my expertise. And everybody else, I hope they do that in their own hometowns. We have a presidential election. It's not just the presidential election. It's the local elections. It's those people who make decisions in our towns. And we are seeing, we're going to see a lot from this audit. And, we'll get into the audit, but, even asking questions, we are uncovering things, and people can uncover things in their own town and help their own towns and help themselves. Because if the town, in Canton, it's pretty clear that we have a population of special people, and then we have everybody else. And the special people don't abide by the rules. And the special people get cuts on this, that, and the other thing. And we don't. And, so we need to make sure that money is being spent the way the people, the citizens, want it to be spent. And the more we show up, ask questions, and hold people accountable, the more we are going to have the best government that we can have. It's not government, and I'm the first one to say, I was in the private sector, and that's where my focus was. And the public sector worked, and that worked okay for me because it wasn't my bag. It wasn't what I was interested in. And, now I realize how important it is. I mean, these last 8 years, we have seen that when we don't pay attention, or when people say, I don't like either candidate, so I'm not going to vote, please don't do that. Please don't do that. Vote for the lesser of two evils. If you think they're both no good, vote for the lesser of two evils.
You gotta vote no matter what.
You have to vote. You have to vote. And that's not voter intimidation. That's
No, you gotta vote. It's encouraging people to vote. Get out the vote. We need people to vote.
Oh, we're gonna
If
have
everyone voted, we'd be so much better off. We would be so much better off. We'd have a better government. We got a good question here from Olivia now. She says, does it scare you as a resident of Canton to see how seemingly incompetent your town's first responders, law enforcement are? How could they get something so big so wrong?
I don't think they got something so big so wrong. I don't think that I honestly don't think they're incompetent. I think that this is all about look, I'm living in a town, Olivia, that is torn apart. And it's not torn apart because one side believes Karen's innocent and the other side thinks she's guilty. It's torn apart because one side is speaking out and the other side doesn't want you to speak out. And when they don't want you to speak out, they attack you. They attack your families. They do everything they can to terrorize you. It's terror. It's domestic terrorism, if you want. It's domestic terrorism. This is the first time I said it. It's domestic terrorism in my own town. That's what's going on in this town. And they're terrorizing people. And you have people that are afraid to speak because their children go to school with these kids. They have businesses in this town. They have families. Families are torn apart. It's not like, oh, you belong to the Smiths and the Smiths all think something. You have families that are split because you're speaking out or because you're not speaking out. And it is domestic terrorism. That's what it is in this town. And it is, it's frightening to a lot of people. But I will say this, the more people, we are seeing more and more people join us every single day. There's people showing up with babies and carriages and young children. And when school vacation week, they brought their kids to show them how to protest, to make them a part of this movement. And what's beautiful about this movement is it transcends politics. People don't.
Exactly.
People
It doesn't
care.
matter. Left or right doesn't matter when we're talking about corruption.
We are uniting on values,
Exactly.
and it transcends geographics. This gets people all over the world are watching this case. It transcends geographic. It transcends age. This impacts all of us. And I recently saw something when the good are quiet, the evil takes over. And that's a message to everybody. This is truth versus gaslighting. If you align with truth, find your voice and use it and say something. Say something. Do not be afraid of domestic terrorism. Do not be afraid of it because there's strength in numbers and we all stand together, and it is, people need this strength in numbers. And even if you find your voice a little at a time, find your voice.
Exactly.
Because fear, there's an old saying, fear is false evidence. What is it? False evidence appearing real. And it's gaslighting. So people are gaslighting people into not saying anything. And if we succumb to that, then we're going to be Russia.
Right.
I mean, one day we're going to wake up and we're going to find out that we're not America anymore.
Yep.
And we are at a crossroads. I really believe we are at a crossroads. There is too much gaslighting. There's too much with the internet. And that's one thing the McGalberts have said. True or false, doesn't matter. Once it's on the internet, it's real. And
Yeah.
they have actively worked on smear campaigns.
Yep.
And because they know that once it's out there, people don't know. And
Right.
people could say things a million times. It doesn't make it truth. It doesn't.
Exactly. And you know what the big thing too? Like I've learned this big time, even more. Like I've known this for a while, but even more so now. If you just show them that you can't be bullied, after a while they get the point. Like they came after me since December until basically the beginning of April.
Yeah.
Lately they've stopped. I don't know if people notice that. They're not trying to come after me anymore, really. Like,
They're not coming after
why?
me.
Why? Because they know it just makes me go harder back at them. Like if you can't be bullied,
Right. Well, I always say smile and kill them with kindness. And that's what I
yeah,
do. Even from the beginning, the first time, and I love the standouts. I miss it that I can't go, but there's so much going on with the Karen Reed trial, with the select board. And now we have town meeting next week. And there's things that I'm doing, working with others that, are affecting different areas. So I spread myself. But when I first went to the standouts last September, August, September, I forget when it was, we have pictures. And my very first standout, the McGalberts going by, giving us the finger, shouting profanities. Somebody came over and shouted at us and swore at us. And that's when I walked away from her. I go, you know what? I'm walking away from you because you use that language and it's not necessary. And that was like August and September when I stood out with Carol and Gail and Courtney and Eileen, and people are going to kill me. There was a couple others, Kevin.
yep,
There were a few others, and I stood out with them. They said that, they were getting bullied in front of Gail's house, a house that she has lived in since she was born, 69 years. And she looks fabulous for 69. Gail
yeah,
looks fabulous. And so, she looks great. But, they were getting bullied. And I went and stood out with them. I was shocked. And then we stood out over the Neponset overpass. It was so much fun. And, it's so much fun exercising your First Amendment rights, that's what it's fun, and then people's cars were getting vandalized because because it was an overpass. They had, and I wasn't there for the vandalization, but I was there when somebody nutty came up, and actually Karen stopped by that time, which was, I didn't even know it was her. That's a funny story. We were standing out. And Carol knew that Karen was coming. I didn't know Karen was coming. We were just standing out. And a car pulls up and Karen gets out. And of course, I'm hugging everybody. That's what I do, So Karen gets out of the car and I give her a hug because I just think she's coming to join us and somebody's dropping her off. And so then she goes over and some other people are hugging her. So that's just what we were doing, There's probably maybe 10 of us. And then Nathan gets out of the driver's seat. And then I look at Nathan and I recognize Nathan. And I go, oh my God. And then I looked at Karen and I go, that's Karen. And so then I went over and I gave her another hug. She goes, you didn't know that was me? And I go, no. She goes, who did that? I go, I just thought it was somebody coming to stand out with us. I wasn't expecting her, And it was really funny. It was really funny. So, but so we stand out, and then people standing out everywhere, and it's just fabulous. And anyone, they publish the standouts. Anyone, I encourage you, come join us. Come join us. People are saying, well, there's not that many people outside for Karen anymore. Well, people have jobs.
exactly. We have to take vacation days. How many do you think they got left? It's funny. It's funny they're going after Jessica Machado right now.
They're going after her?
Yeah, they're going after her big time on X and Twitter. But you know what?
Yeah, that's why I'm not on.
They're picking the wrong one again, because she is not going to be intimidated. You can already see it in responses.
Yeah,
it's just funny because it's when they try to step up to someone like her, it's not going to work out for them. Yeah. And they'll end up giving up. They'll go on to someone else. This is what they do.
Yeah, it's too much energy. I want to put my energy in positive stuff.
So let's talk about the Canton audit meeting, because that got crazy the other night. What's going on there? I want to say before we talk about it, I played Sean Colburn's speech from there because I thought it was
Yeah.
really well done. He stated some numbers. We'll probably play some more later. Maybe play that one again. I like that a lot. It was a crazy audit hearing. It seemed like at the end, you guys kind of came together a little bit after. Almost seemed like the audit meeting was going to stop and he was going to kick people out.
Yeah.
That guy seems like a bully. The chairman.
Right.
Tell us your thoughts right now and what's going on with the audit.
So his look, nothing about this audit meeting feels good. Nothing. Yeah, we're trying to make the best of what we can with what we got. But it's not certainly what we were hoping for. So, the audit meeting started with Bob McCarthy standing up, and somebody says he doesn't know Robert's rules, and apparently that seems to be the case. He stood up at the audit meeting. He was the most vocal opponent for it. And then Randy, who has no respect for women, he's the finance director. And it's actually, it goes back. If I could take it back, just so people can understand
Oh,
how
yeah.
it's so
Go ahead.
explosive, right? So in the fall timeframe, in the October timeframe, when the chief wouldn't meet with us and the select board wouldn't meet with us, we had no choice but to call a special town meeting. And that was the brainchild of Kathleen Howley. And she said, this is how we can get audience with them. And so that's what we did. And it was a unbelievable effort we had a short period of time to collect the necessary signatures to petition for a special town meeting. And we did it. And we blindsided them because they had no idea what we were doing. And then when we got the meeting petitioned successfully, then they tried to discredit it. Helena put out stuff that there were forged signatures and they were trying to discredit the process when they didn't even know what the process was. We didn't go door knocking. We went to Starbucks and we said, meet us there. And they all lined up. So, they wouldn't meet with us. They forced us into a citizen petition town meeting. That's the only way we could get audience with them. Then we go to the town meeting. There's 2,000 people when normally only 250 show up on average. On the annual one, we got 2,000 people to show up for the special town meeting and vote. And we also had about 100 out-of-towners who came to support us. They were fabulous. And that's never happened. And at the town meeting, there was so much tension. The proponents of the audit were heckled. There was intimidation going on, very severe intimidation going on. And we wanted to protect the vote for the people. And people were afraid. People were even afraid to go to the meeting. That's how much power these people have. I had no idea. And people were afraid to go to the meeting. So we asked for an alternative way to vote. And the moderator and the town clerk came up with a system that we said that's workable. And then it would give people privacy so they could vote for the audit in private and not get repercussions for it. And the opponents poo-pooed it and said, no. So when they took the vote for the alternative way of voting or the standard way, which is to raise your orange cards, I think it was 50-50, but we didn't challenge the vote. We accepted it. We said, okay, this is what it is. We've worked this hard. If we don't get the alternative way of voting, we're never going to get this audit passed. But we said, if this is what it is, this is what it is. We accepted the outcome of the election. So then we vote for the audit, and people were in 3 different rooms. So many people showed up. They had to put them in the auditorium. They had to put them in the cafeteria. They had to put them in the gymnasium. And people on both sides were in each room. And our room, the auditorium, was the most vocal, but all of them had issues and it was contentious. And so when the vote passed on the first vote, John Conley jumps up and objects to the vote. And the rest of the select board goes with them. And there's 5 on the select board. 2 of them, one of them had Chris Albert, shouldn't even have been voting on that because he has a brother on the police force. And I think there was somebody else. Oh, Tom Theodore had a son on the police force, and he should have been voted. But the select board in Canton doesn't go by the rules. They just do what they want to do, and they didn't recuse themselves. So they voted. So they all objected to it. So then we had to take the vote a second time, and people had to hold their cards up a second time. Now people are studying who's voting for the audit, right? Before, it's like you raise your hand, you put it down, hopefully nobody saw you, right? Not that that's how we were, but people that were afraid. And the second time, people had to hold their hands up and leave them up. And then the tellers had to go up the rows and count. And if the numbers didn't match, they had to do it again. And that didn't work. They had to do it a third time. So 3 times people had to raise their hand with courage to say, this is how I'm voting. And that took a lot of guts. And when that passed 903, we were floored. We were not sure that people would have the courage to vote.
Amazing. Historic. It's historic vote. I mean, just
historic.
Especially in a town like Canton. I mean, Canton is as pro-police and against. I would never expect a police audit to pass at an open town meeting.
Never. 903 and 800 said no. And 903 said yes. And that's after raising their hands 3 times. So, and before that meeting, so Kathleen and others were meeting with finance, because the finance committee fully supported the audit and we're helping to craft the article that went into the special town meeting, the wording. And Randy Scollins, who came to us from Foxborough, Randy has no respect for women, and all you have to do is watch a town meeting and you can see it. And he and the town lawyer, who, by the way, does not work for the town. Anybody who thinks that town lawyer works for us, I got news for you. He's not working for us. He's working for the select board and anybody that they tell him to work for. He is not working for us. Our best interests are not in his, that's just not happening. So they insisted that the language had to be a certain way. And so the language, they said, had to be that the designee, Randy or his designee, had a vote, and it had to be 2 from the community at large and 2 from the petitioners. Well, that puts us at the minority out of the gate. So Randy or his designee picks the 2 community at large, and the petitioners pick the 2 petitioners. And so it's a 3-2.
I'm gonna stop you right there because people are asking about the dinging on the phone. Is that me or you?
No, that's me. And I got
it's never me. It's always the guest. So I got to make sure, because it's the last show. The lawyer always, his phone's always dinging, and your phone's been dinging. It is not me, Mass Media.
People are texting me, and I
got to tell the people, if you're listening to the show, don't text the guest and the host while they're doing the interview.
Yes, because I'm on my computer, so it's dinging.
And they all do that. They all start texting. I'm watching you on the show.
Yeah, well, they did. I know. It's like I'm sorry, guys. I got to figure out how to turn the sound off.
Yeah, Rita needs to have some help on how to turn off the sound.
I know. So
I thought I was bad technology. Turns out it's Rita and the attorney.
It is. Well, I didn't think they were going to blow up my phone. Blow up my computer.
Yeah.
Anyway, so so they said that it had.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I don't have that many friends that would be texting me like Rita does.
Well, yeah, it's people in the movement, pretty much, or people in town. So anyway, so we were forced, to petition for a special town meeting. We were forced to vote under hostile situations. We were forced to accept the makeup of the committee, which was a 3-2. So the petitioners still aren't going to have the say, right? We know that. And then to add insult to injury, Dandy Randy, appoints Bob McCarthy. Bob McCarthy was the loudest opponent and said he wouldn't risk his license on it. And who are these vocal minority? Don't pander to them. And you wouldn't have somebody who was so vehemently opposed to something spearhead it. You just wouldn't. But Randy did. And we see why, because Bob is the way he is. And that's not effective leadership to me. But, for Bob, he thinks it is. And so, that was tough. And then Randy and Bob came up with this imaginary language. And now Bob is saying that it was the lawyer who's supposed to work for the town. That lawyer is not working for the town. So he's saying that the language came from the lawyer with this imaginary election. So the petitioners are put through this exhaustive imaginary election for nominating the two people that we wanted to represent the petitioners, when Bob could just say, oh, I pick you and I pick you, and that's my two people. So all along, we're getting roadblock after roadblock after roadblock. And then we didn't want Bob on the committee. And then Bob was appointed himself chairperson before a chairperson could be, appointed. And so
and then he pulled that shady move where the other person got nominated first, but he held the vote for his first.
Yeah, it just wasn't right.
Wicked shady.
Right.
And it's so shady that they picked, is it 2 former police are on that board now?
So one guy, John Kelly, and there's a lot of John Kellys, but he's been a state police. I think he was a lieutenant on the state police. Well, we didn't want somebody from the police on the audit. I mean, we didn't want.
I mean, and it's so funny because who's the other gentleman with
Dr. Muse, Dr. Daniel Muse.
No, the one that got
Dave Clow.
Yes, Clow called it out, the conflict of interest.
He's
they shouldn't be voting, and they voted anyways. Those are they both former police? The other two?
No,
so just one of them. Okay.
Jack Kelly is, I believe, he's former lieutenant for the state police. Well, the Mass State Police have a vested interest in the outcome of this because it impacts the Karen Reed trial. So that's a conflict of interest, and I think there's others, but that's a conflict of interest. Dr. Muse, and Jack Smith bought a house from Helena Rafferty's father on a small cul-de-sac that maybe has 6 houses. So we don't even have to say that financial transaction because they're saying, okay, it doesn't matter. So, okay, won't even say that. We'll just say he's been a lieutenant on the Mass State Police, and that's not what we wanted. And we don't, that's not a way that we would recommend to instill trust, to rebuild trust with the community. Dr. Muse, okay, I'm just going to cut to the chase on him. He has done work with the town, with the police. But most importantly, his family is made up of doctors or lawyers and judges. His mother was a judge. The sister's a judge. Lawyers in the family. He's a doctor. And his father and brother, Robert and Peter, died. They were both criminal defense attorneys. They died in 2012. And a scholarship in their memory was created. In 1994, Chris Albert had a criminal defense attorney named John Prescott Jr. defend him in that trial. And he only got 6 months for a fatal hit and run of a 23-year-old kid. And he was on the lam for 30 hours. And the taxpayers paid for that search for him. But that's another story. So John Prescott is Auntie Bev's brother. John Prescott sits on the scholarship committee for Dr. Muse's brother and his father. So Dr. Muse has a direct connection to Auntie Bev's brother, and that's a conflict. And he also has worked closely with Michael Morrissey. And he'll probably, at the next meeting, he'll probably correct me and say he really wasn't working closely with Michael Morrissey. He was volunteering. And if he's guilty of volunteering, then he's guilty of volunteering. The relationship that his family and the people of the scholarship defined the people on the committee as close friends and family and colleagues of Dr. Muse's families. So that means that John Prescott, the judge in Karen Reed's case, is on the committee, and that's just too close for me to feel comfortable. And if we're trying to restore trust in the community, neither of these individuals do it for me. Right. And, so what happened at the meeting the other day is that, so what happened at the meeting the other day, we get into the meeting and, everything that they have done up until this point has been with, coercion. I mean, they forced us to the committee makeup. They forced us to accept Bob. They forced us to accept the imaginary election. They forced us to accept these two individuals, which we had no say in the matter, which the article didn't say we had say in the matter. But common sense tells you, if you're trying to restore trust in the community, that you want to get somebody who doesn't have ties like these two have.
Exactly.
And so so what happened was, so we go into that meeting and, they're going to talk about the scope. We have no idea what they're going to do. Slam dunk a scope. It doesn't really matter. I want to understand more about the RFP process, because I think the devil is in the details. And I want to understand more. And I'm working to find out more about the RFP process. And so when I get that, that's going to be helpful to us. But at the end of the day, what I understood leaving that meeting was that the RFP, they keep saying it's an independent audit. It's an independent audit. People are going to come in. It's independent. It's going to be transparent. Yeah, it's going to be transparent. You have 3 people that if you rank, so the way I understand it, the RFPs come in, and then everybody says, okay, they take the RFPs. I rank this one. I rank this one. I rank that one. And they rank maybe the top 3, right? They rank them in the order in which they would recommend hiring. And that Bob McCarthy and the other 2 are going to rank the same. They're going to outvote.
You're going to collude. They're going to collude.
Right. They're going to outvote Kathleen and Dave. And that's why there is now discussion on hiring a municipal attorney. So if anyone out there knows a good municipal attorney, please let me know, because we are going to research, and I say we, I mean me and other people, are going to research a municipal attorney and look to maybe try to fundraise to hire that attorney. So we're going to get more information this week to see what we can find out, because the town attorney is not working in our best interests. And we know it. And so we want to protect our town. And look, we're not looking, people do audits all the time. I've never seen people so terrified as an audit as these people.
Yeah.
Nobody likes an audit, but it helps you to be the best that you can be. You need to fix what's broken so that you can raise the level of, efficiency and excellence. And you can't do that if you're not willing to look and address issues. So that's what we're trying to do. It's not to point fingers. It's to try to be the best we can to restore trust. And so now it's come to a point. And so at the end of the meeting, I just want to say this, it was hostile at the beginning, and I was not acting like people have normally seen me. And that's because we have felt stifled for so long, and we have felt controlled for so long, and it was just enough. And to be up there and have the 2 people up there with Bob McCarthy, it was over the top. It was over the top. I will say this, that when the meeting went on, we did start, it did get better. And at the end of the meeting, Jennifer and I apologized. The other side didn't apologize. Bob didn't apologize. But we apologized for our behavior. And then I went up afterwards and I shook all 3 of their hands. And I said to Bob, let's start over. And, he goes, well, I don't trust you. I said, well, I don't trust you either, Bob. So let's start over.
Right.
And he's probably not going to trust me tonight either after he hears what I'm saying. But, this is about protecting the interests of the town who wanted the election, who wanted the audit. And Bob said last week that he wasn't concerned about the 903 or the 800. He was concerned about the 18,000.
Right.
And so are we. And that's why, we're going to look to get information on a municipal lawyer and then try to and fundraise for it so that we can protect this audit and we can lead the way for other towns on how to protect your rights.
Awesome. I was just looking up some names of people to see if
yes, anyone
they
who
might qualify. You're looking for attorney. I got someone who was like an auditor, a CPA, who was a former select woman that I think would be helpful, but I don't think she's an attorney actually.
Oh, you know what? I'll take her information. Yeah, because
I'll give you her name right now. Mitzi Hollenbach.
Okay.
I had her on the show way back. I was impressed with her. She's a
down.
CPA. She used to be a selectman in Lakeville, Mitzi, Mitzi, Hollenbeck, Hollenbeck. That was the first one I thought of.
Oh, okay. And where was she? She's in.
She's Lakeville, Mass. How far away is
Oh,
that?
okay. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, she's worked with like a lot of the cannabis regulations, a lot of the cities and towns, and that's how I know her. She used to be a Lakeville, Mass selectman, even though she's a woman. I guess they call her selectmen still in Lakeville.
Somebody's saying call Grant Thornton. Grant Thornton.
So we're looking for recommendations, folks. Municipal lawyers.
Right.
Are you looking to sue? Like, what are you looking to do on that?
We are looking someone to. So and I say we. I'm speaking for me and other people. Not necessarily Kathleen and Dave because they're on the committee. But we want to make sure. We don't have a lot of say in this, right? We
Right.
don't have a lot of say. And we know that, the three of them are going to vote the same way. So we're kind of going through, the motions.
Right.
Really. I mean, we're going through the motions. We're hoping for the best and preparing for the worst, right? And we're hoping that we can make this work. But, as long as we have Dr. Muse Dr. Muse, Jack, I don't know anything about Jack, right? I did talk to him afterwards. I did have a nice discussion with him. And I did talk to Dr. Muse, but it wasn't the same as talking to Jack. Dr. Muse has a clear conflict. He has a vested interest. The judge in this case has a vested interest in the outcome of this Canton audit. And her brother is close friends with Dr. Muse's family. And he sits on a scholarship for Dr. Muse's brother and his father. And that he should step aside. And I don't think he will, but he should. And if he cares about this town, he should step aside. It's not that important. There's other things you can volunteer for. It doesn't have to be this audit committee. And I'll be happy to take your place, Dr. Muse. But I know Bob won't take me. I'm happy. I've spent. And as a matter of fact, Bob, pick me.
Right.
Pick me. So,
I don't understand why you didn't.
yeah, exactly. Because I'm willing to do it. I've been audited for decades. I know the process. I know how it feels. I know what it looks like. And I know what it looks like when you get the feedback and you make the changes and you can shine with the success stories. And certainly we wouldn't have people testifying on the stand the way they're testifying right now had they been audited before.
Exactly.
Because this would have been caught. The things that people are doing would have been caught. An audit of compliance would have been caught, and we would have had high standards in our police and fire department. And right now, they're doing a disservice to the town by having these people testify the way they're testifying.
Yep. So what's the Canton Police Audit? Where does it stand now? Like, is there a meeting coming up next month?
Yes.
What's
So
going on with that?
so next Monday starts the town meeting. So I think the town meeting is Monday and Wednesday night, and the select board meeting is going to be
But
5.
is it this Monday or the following Monday?
Oh, a week from Monday.
A week from Monday.
Yeah.
So they have a town meeting a week from Monday. And
A week from Monday is the town meeting, and the select board meeting is going to be at 5:30. So I don't know how that's going to work. The town meeting starts at 7. So maybe the select board meeting will be at about an hour. I haven't seen the agenda. And then the town meeting will happen. It will start at 7 and it can go hours. Oh, next time I promise I will get that bell. I will turn off the dinging on my texting. And anyways, so just consider it a little angel.
Angel got wind. What about the audit meeting though? Oh God, the Canton Police Board audit meeting. When is that?
That's going to be a week from Thursday.
A week from Thursday.
Yes.
Okay.
So the town meeting's Monday. Next week's a busy week. A week from this week is a busy week. So I think it's the 13th and the 15th, which is Monday and Wednesday, are the town meeting. And then Thursday is going to be the audit meeting. So Kathleen and Dave were supposed to combine the scope, Dave's scope and Kathleen's scope together with what Bob put out. And then they were going to talk about that. Then they're going to do whatever Bob does. And then there's another meeting in June. So we're going to have to see. We're going to have to see. It's hard to say how it's going to go. I don't know. I think it will be calmer. I will say this, that I do appreciate that Bob let us speak. And that's one thing that the select board hasn't done. And that's one thing that has made it, it really puts us under enormous pressure. And I know they don't care, or they haven't cared, when they put that silly timer on. So the silly timer goes on for 3 minutes. And then they take off the microphones. I don't know if they've been taking that off since the election. But before, they were taking off the microphones because they didn't want any hot mics. And they're not even listening to us. It's like, okay, go ahead, talk for 3 minutes. You might as well put plugs in your ears because they're not listening to us. And then the next person goes. And it puts a lot of pressure that, it puts a lot of pressure on us to spit out what we need to say instead of letting it just come out naturally. And a lot of people want to speak. And Kathleen and I go to the mic because, we have things to say, and we didn't go last week, which was great. Other people got to the mic and boy, was it something else. So I am happy that Bob did let us speak, and he let us, speak more than the 3 minutes. And that did help. And we do want to collaborate. We do want to collaborate. And what I say about, Jack Smith and Dr. Muse, I say objectively, that is, if I was charged with heading up a committee, I would not choose people with those kind of connections. I wouldn't, because the goal is to restore trust. The audit is secondary. It's through the audit that we're going to restore trust. And if we're trying to restore trust, putting people that have direct ties isn't going to do it. And then giving yourself the majority vote, it isn't going to do it.
Yeah, definitely. I think they need to realize, no matter how they feel about it, the people in power,
Yeah.
that perception is reality. And the perception is, that Lieutenant Colonel State Police guy seems like a nice guy.
He did seem like a nice guy.
But you know what, dude? It doesn't matter if you're a nice guy. A lot of people, at least half of them, if not more, their perception is that you're a former state police guy and you're going to be protecting your friends.
Right.
So therefore, there's no trust.
Right.
And there's nothing you can do. It's not personal. It's not because you're a bad guy. It just, that's the situation. This is a police audit. They need independent citizens, not someone who's connected.
Exactly. It's not going to restore trust. It's not. As much as we want it to, it's not. And, that's why we're talking, there's going to be discussions with the municipal lawyer this week to help us, guide us in this process. So, it still doesn't feel right. We know that we have to proceed with what we have right now, and that's what we're going to do, and we're going to make the best of it. But it's not going to. Oh, and the Chiefs contract. That's right. The Chiefs contract is out there, and that's another thing. So Helena Rafferty's contract is up June 30th, and I sent a message. Are we going to renew it? And they have closed door meetings on negotiations, and so it's not something that they the public is able to go to. But Charlie said, you can send your feedback in an email. Well, yeah, I can, but you can also look at the news and see it. I mean, I don't have to send it in an email. You know what the issues are. So my hope is that if they're going to do anything, they extend her like 30 days at a time. Her contract should not be renewed until the audit is completed and until the Karen Reed case is over. Because Chief Rafferty, she was the chief at this time. Kenny Berkowitz was on medical leave, and he came back from medical leave to do his magic in this case. And she was the chief. So, her contract should not be renewed until this unfinished business is finished. And I have a feeling that they're just going to renew it because that's what Canton does. Rules are for everybody else. And, my hope is that they don't, because it's not right. If you were in the business world and you had an employee that there was an issue with, and that employee was under investigation, or that employee's department was under investigation, you would not rehire or extend a contract with that employee until that investigation was over. This is no different. And that, I think, is the problem, Mike. The public sector doesn't operate by the same standards as the private sector. And that's the problem. We need to raise the standards in the public sector to that of the private sector, because many organizations have exceptional standards and exceptional systems and automation, and processes, and the government doesn't. And that's what runs the country.
Right.
So my hope is that we take a look and help our government out. And if I don't know how, I think that we have to get the best of the best working with the best in the government to help the government get up to speed with the standards that are in the world today and in this country today. And I don't believe our government, the fact of this case and everything that went through the cracks, these processes, if these processes were in the private sector, there would have been stopgaps. They would have been checks and balances to stop the people from going rogue. And I think that's what we need. We need to put processes in place. I mean, how do you have the initial investigation and reports, whenever Proctor took them 18 months later, none of the witnesses signed them? Of course, we know why they didn't sign them. But, you have a witness statement. If the witness statement isn't signed, it shouldn't go past go until it is signed. And every single witness did not sign the witness statement.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we need to tighten up the procedures so that we don't have corruption. If we leave the gates open, corruption's going to happen.
Yep. Let me ask you another question about this town meeting. Someone posted that it could increase they could vote in increasing the speaking time at select board. Is that something that's even on the agenda for the town meeting?
Listen, we're a town in crisis. We asked last summer for a crisis management team, and it was rejected. They just didn't hear us. Because they just do whatever. I just lost the question for a second, but
About the increasing the speaking
oh
time.
yeah, increasing the speaking time. So we're in crisis. We shouldn't have 15 minutes. It should be at least a half an hour. Let people speak. And the fact that it is 15 minutes, the fact that we are put under a 3-minute timer, that only makes the pot boil even more and makes it worse. And they don't want to hear what we're saying. They don't want to answer questions. They won't answer questions. We could say, "What is the sky blue today?" And they would not answer us. So, asking them to extend it, they're not going to, because they don't even want the 15 minutes. And it used to be 5 minutes per person, and then they cut it down to 3 in September. So they said it was to have more people speak. It wasn't to have more people speak, because if somebody only wants to speak for 2 minutes, they're only going to speak for 2 minutes. They didn't have to cut it down to allow more people to speak. They cut it down so that they didn't have to listen to us for more than 3 minutes.
I hope they start listening.
I hope they do too. And I do hope, I will say this, that with John Conley as the chairman, as much as I like Tom Theater, I mean, personally, I think John has been much more effective being the chairman. And I know he's been on there 34 years. And, what we're looking for is progress. And I do think we have progress with John as the chairman right now. And I do hope.
That's saying a lot. That's saying an awful lot.
It is.
That's a low bar.
We just want progress. We want to move that ball forward. And I hope, and I think we saw it at the select board meeting this past week, where they let people go over the 3 minutes. The stupid timer was still on. It's obnoxious. Boys, it's obnoxious. Throw it out the window. it doesn't make anybody look good, and it puts pressure on us, and it makes the matter worse.
It makes them look childish.
It does make them look
It makes them
childish.
look like children. Oh, let me the little thing.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then when you get on the 1 minute mark, it turns red.
Yeah.
And then there was one meeting recently before the election that Tom let me speak over the 3 minutes, and Mike Lofgren just sat there and let the timer keep tinging like I'm late, and I finally had to ask him to shut it off. It was like, okay, well, Tom's going to let you speak, but I'm still going to let the timer kick you in the ass. I mean, it was like, stop. It's not how you run a meeting. And that's another thing, I think from what I'm saying, these guys are not up to speed on current meeting standards. And, it's the private versus the public sector. And it's antiquated what they're doing. It's antiquated. It's dated. And, you don't have to run meetings like that. You don't have to. And if there's some questions you can't answer, okay, don't answer them. But if you can answer somebody's question, for God's sakes, answer it.
I know, right?
Answer it.
You don't answer questions.
Right.
I mean, that is just. Are you supposed to serve the people?
Right. The only time they will answer questions is if it's an agenda item. How insane is that? And so if there's an agenda item, then we're allowed to ask the question, and it's unlimited, but it's only in public comments that it's, they won't answer. And, that just doesn't make any sense to me. Somebody asks a question, you know what, we don't have the answer right now, but you know what, we'll get it to you next week, or it might take a couple of months, but we'll get back to you. It shows that you care what we have to say. And when you just let it go in one ear and out the other and let the next person go up, and then you walk and leave, and everything we said just didn't matter, well, then you're going to get what you get. So we want to work collaboratively. And I hope that the select board turns a page and starts to work collaboratively with us, and, starts answering questions that they can answer. We've never asked questions about the trial. We're smart. We know we can't ask questions about the case, but there's other questions that they could answer. And to force us to call a special town meeting to get audience with them should have been a wake-up call. Geez, maybe if you listened to the people, you wouldn't have had to have a special town meeting.
Right. Now, a couple comments came in. One is about a lot of comments about Trish, wondering how Trish is doing. If you maybe give a quick answer on that. Also, about it being on YouTube. I think that they don't like that we stream it. What do you think about that? And this comment, these keep coming up from this JK27. I have no idea what he's talking about. He said tax and corruption unit now involved. 14 feds on the case. TikTok is.
I don't know about that, but at the select board meeting, a whistleblower stood up. Her name was Corey Spalding, and she said the town has been sued for misappropriation of school funds, and I believe there's COVID funds in that as well. So if that's true, I don't know. I don't think she would have said it if it wasn't true. That's serious stuff. And that's, what Jen O'Donnell was trying to work with the school committee. And, I don't know. But if that's true, it's certainly not going to be pretty for the town. I mean, when are we going to stop? We should just find it, fix it, and be done with it, instead of letting all this stuff get exposed the way it's getting exposed, because, it's not going to stop until we fix it. And that's what the police audit is all about. And it's coming together. And if the town was run a certain way, well, you know what? Time's up. It's time to run it right. This is the people's money. This is the people's taxpayers' money. We're paying the expenses. We should get the benefits of that. And it looks like the town has hired a PR firm, because the last week it looks like, they've got some PR going out there, but then you get the whistleblower that comes out, and then people speak at the select board meeting, and all the PR in the world isn't going to make the truth go away.
Right. It's so funny how they, like Sean Colburn said at that meeting, he said, no police complaints.
None.
Yeah. Every month at the Canton Select Board meeting, we hear people complaining about the police. So there's something not right there. I mean, that's just weird.
I heard there's
Um,
2 sets of books. I heard there's a
Yeah,
book for public viewing and there's a book, you know, you
exactly.
have people, you cannot have people that got demoted. Many people have been demoted for conduct. They get demoted, but then where's the conduct?
Yeah,
How come there's no disciplinary action?
exactly.
How
No
come
report. No report. Where's the report? Where's
Michael
the
Lang cost
yeah,
this town $300,000, almost $300,000. We got sued because he protected, once again, Chris Albert.
Albert? Yeah,
And so, you know, he protected Chris Albert. And in the settlement, it just recently came out that he was never to be promoted. Well, he was promoted to sergeant. And then after John O'Keefe died, he was promoted to lieutenant. Really? You know, and, you know, so how does someone, when there's a lawsuit that says this man will never be promoted because of his conduct, and not only does he not get disciplined on file, he gets promoted twice, and then
yep.
he gets promoted to lieutenant after he is the first one on scene for Sandra Birchmore and the first one down here for John O'Keefe.
There you
Hey,
go.
let's just promote him.
Yep.
No,
Let's promote them.
no. Let's promote the people that are doing a good job and the poor people. You know, the poor good cops are watching this. And, you know, it's kind of like domestic terrorism. I'll tell you what's going on in this town is domestic terrorism. Absolutely. You know, and you know, the good cops, and I go back to what I said at the beginning. If the good stay silent, the evil will take over. And that's what you're going to have. And that you've got to stand up to bullying. You've got to stand up for what's right. Find your voice, stand up, and let it be heard. And there's strength in numbers. And I got to tell you, we are happy. People aren't used to people protesting the way we do. We are happy people. We
Yeah,
just want what's right.
I want to ask about Trish because people keep asking about Trish, and I don't feel like Trish is going to stand up like at this point. I don't know this woman, but from what I've seen, I don't see anything. I think an easy ask for her would be to extend the public comment. I don't see it. I don't. What do you think? You know her better than me.
Look,
You watch what's going
I
on.
don't
What
know
do you
Trish
think?
either. I'll be honest. I don't know Trish either. You know, I wanted to run as a team. She did not want to run as a team. I ran as a team. I told all of my voters, vote for both of us. And, you know, people say, oh, the Turtle Boy, you know, because that's why she didn't want to run as a team, because of the Turtle Boy connection. She thought it would hurt her. And I didn't think it would. And I stood behind everything he did. I'm one of his fiercest supporters. You know, he did. I don't know what he did pre-Karen Reed. I heard what he did, some of the stuff he did pre-Karen Reed, and I'm hoping that he's growing from, you know, sometimes, you know, we need to learn and we need to make amends with people we have offended. But what I have seen from the Karen Reed forward, he has grown as a reporter and he's done a fabulous job. And we wouldn't be here today without him. You know, so I don't know. I lost the thought again.
We're talking about Trish.
Trish, right. So she was afraid, you know, that would hurt her, you know, because of my connection to him. And I didn't think it would. And, you know, McLaughlin won by 181 votes, but Trish, I think, had almost 600 over me and every vote for me. And so the message I told all my supporters was to vote for both of us, even though she didn't want to run as a team, because I knew we needed both of us in there. You know, I've been through these crisis situations before. That's what I've done my entire career is crisis management turnaround. That's what I did. I built a career on that. It's not like it's just how my career evolved. And I knew this crisis, and this crisis had my name all over it.
Yeah.
You know, having said that, she's in there and I wish her well. You know, I hope she does succeed. But, you know, I am grateful that I didn't get in.
Yeah.
You know, because my aunt just turned 95 last week. I know my days are limited with her,
Right.
you know, and everything else I'm doing. And I wouldn't have been able to be as involved in the police audit or with the Karen Reed trial if I was on the select board.
Right.
And now I can show up for what's important to me and leave.
Yep.
And so I'm still going to get it done. And I encourage everybody, you don't have to be on any kind of team. All you have to do is be on the team for your town and be on the team for truth. Show up, speak up, and contribute.
This is my issue. I agree 100% with what Scott McGinnis just said. I don't think she's a bad person. I just think that she's not showing any effectiveness at this point. I know it's early, but he says the bullies on the board will just block Trisha's seat if she doesn't fight hard. And I gotta say, once she was elected, I immediately reached out to her on Facebook and said, "Come on the show." And what do you think she said?
What? No.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's like,
Yeah.
well, let me get my feet under me and we'll see what happens. Send me your email. It's like,
Yeah.
now I don't even want her on the show.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, that was your moment when you won the election, your moment to speak to a couple thousand people on here. When
Right.
I wanted to hear from you, all the voters wanted to hear from you. Now it's been a couple of meetings. Nobody wants to hear from you.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, because you haven't rallied the people. Like, this is what I hate about politicians. I see it so often. Now,
Yeah.
I didn't ask her to come on the show when she was running for election. She didn't ask to come on the show, which
Yeah.
is fine for both of us. But what I see so often is they want your vote until election day,
Yeah.
and then it's shut everything down. And then I'm not talking to anyone. It's like once the election is over, isn't the end of the campaign. That
Right.
shouldn't be the end of the campaign. That should be the beginning of you rallying more people to your whatever you're trying to do. The
Right.
fact that you just got elected and you can't come on a platform that's going to give you thousands of people listening to
Right.
express your opinions and what you want to get done in your term, I just think that's weak, especially with what's going on in Canton right now.
Absolutely.
Now, I was happy she gave
Yeah.
a little speech the night she won to the Canton Community Television, but that's all we've heard from her since. Her little like, "Thank you for voting for me."
Yeah.
And then we've seen her sit there and just, do nothing so far. I mean, for me, looking on the outside, I don't know, but I'm just saying I've worked with a lot of campaigns, a lot of politicians over the years, and it's a bad sign to me. The ones that I see get shit done are the ones that are on my show the week after they win an election.
Yeah.
Because they're the ones that saying, "You know what, Mike, we won, and this is what we're going to do now, and this is what I need your help on."
Right.
She's not doing that. I don't see why did she even run? What is she fighting for?
Yeah. And look, I don't want to say anything, but I will say I don't know Trish. I really don't. She was someone who was running. I know others way better than I know Trish.
Yeah.
I do wish her well. I do wish her
I
well.
do too, and I'm not saying she's a bad person at
No,
all. I just think she's making mistakes, and I want her to hear from me. I think someone needs to just. I have experience in this shit. If you're not talking to your constituents, what the hell are you doing right now? You just got elected. What, like, AOC gets elected, she tells everyone after she gets elected what she's doing, how you can help her. Every week she gives updates. Like, I'm not seeing that from Trish. We haven't heard from her since election night.
People have said to me, Rita, how could people say they're going to vote for her and not you? And, I believe everything happens for a reason. And, I do wish her well. I do wish her well. It's unfortunate. I helped her during her campaign. I helped her a lot. I get your picture on. Brian Hale took her picture, put your picture on the sign. I had 200 signs, and I was disappointed, but the advice that she had was to run an independent campaign. And it put my campaign in a difficult position because people automatically assume it's the both of you, right? And of course it's the both of us, and I have decades of crisis management turnaround, decades of it. And I don't do it anymore, I did it till I was 57, and now I work all my jobs have been fun. I got to tell you, all of my jobs, I've had the time of my life in all of my jobs. It's just kind of gal I am, and I do really well in crisis. And, it had my name all over it. And it isn't what happened. And I do wish her well, and I'm going to continue to do what I do. And and that's all I can say. So she made her choice, and now she's up there by herself, and I don't know what she's going to get done. I really don't.
Yeah. Oh, your doggy. I love it.
My dog, he says, Mom, you've been on the phone. You made me stay upstairs with Dad.
Yeah.
Phil just sent him down.
Yeah. So we have a couple 5 minutes left
Yeah.
before we both have to go here. What are your final thoughts on the Canton Police Audit or even Karen Reed trial tomorrow, or any thoughts?
So, my final thoughts are truth will prevail. Karen will prevail. Justice will happen. Believe in the justice system. I do. There's good and bad everywhere. And what we're seeing on the stand are not indicative of the majority. And we just need to fix it. And, the more people that testify, the more we realize how much we have to fix. And truth will come out. And I believe this jury will do the right thing if it ever gets to the jury, and so that is the biggest thing for me. That's the biggest thing for me is, will this ever get to the jury? Will the house of cards fall before? And I think, I don't know if we've ever seen a case before where it collapsed before it got to the jury. I don't know. Has there ever been a case like that? I don't know.
Oh yeah, it happens all the time. I mean, that's what happened to Sean Ellis. They didn't even get to court on the fourth trial. They just basically said, "Oh, they
that was
offered him a deal." Yeah,
but
so
politics. That was
yeah.
politics because the new.
Well, they knew they were going to lose the case too. That
Yes.
was the other.
Yes, that was politics to take it out of her hand. I forget what that, but there was Rachel Rollins, and there was politics going on.
Exactly. They knew it was going to blow up in their face with Rachel Rollins getting in the office. They wanted to end it the way they wanted to. Let me ask you this too, because people are asking this in the comment, which I think is a good comment here. Good question. When you're in the courtroom, can you hear Bev's sighs like we can watching at home? Like when she's sighing and making all that noise?
I hear her, but I don't think I hear it the way you guys do, because I think you guys, I don't hear it the way you guys do. Although I did have my hearing tested not too long ago.
I wonder if the jurors hear it.
I said to Brad, so I'm sitting beside Brad Goldstein, who I love Brad Goldstein. And Brad, I know you're watching, so hot for you. And I'll see you tomorrow. And, I said, Brad, I got to wear my fiance's AirPods, because he's got the AirPod Pros, which you can hear when you put it, you can hear far away. And so my hearing is starting to go. So I said, I wish I could have, and Brad goes, oh, I can hear every word.
Yeah, my hearing's going too. I went to too many rock shows as a kid.
And when you see the people in the witness stand, right? I don't know if you guys can see them, but when the people in the witness stand and the judge has a sidebar, the people in the witness stand like this. You can see them. They're trying to hear the judge. It is a riot. They're like, okay, what's the judge saying? So I know which way I'm going to go with this. But, it is good to be there. It is good to see it. And I think it's going to highlight a lot of things that need to be fixed. And if we can take that from this and learn and build a better system, then perhaps it's worth it, but my heart, my sympathies are, to both families for having to even have to sit through this. It's just not right. And I think that, Mrs. O'Keefe has been, Jen McCabe has filled her head. And I feel bad because the truth is coming out, and it's going to be sad.
It's going to be a huge shock to them.
It's going to be sad, very sad. So, but listen, God bless America.
Yeah.
God bless the truth.
Yeah.
And stand for truth, stand for justice, and believe that justice will prevail, because I do believe justice will prevail.
Yes. I want to thank you so much for being here tonight.
Thank you.
I had one more question that came in. Do you think the jury is bored by Adam Lally? That just came up as a question. It's a great last question. Do you think?
I think
he bores them?
Yeah, I do. Adam Lally is ineffective, totally ineffective. And he just is. I mean, we've seen him Lally-splain everything. And, I think, here's what I'm going to say, they practice. You can tell these witnesses have been groomed, right? But what they didn't practice, in my opinion, is threading the whole story together. How are you going to do that?
Yeah.
Good
Really?
luck with that one.
Because we all know that they can't do it. So that is going to be, to me, the biggest performance ever. How are you going to string everything together, and the timeline and the evidence? How are they going to make that work? They can't.
Yeah.
They can't.
They
And
can't.
they can't. And we know it. So we'll watch for it.
Yes. Well, we'll be watching tomorrow, 9 a.m. We'll be
Yes.
broadcasting here. I want to thank you so much for being here tonight,
Thank
Rita.
you, Mike. Thank you, Mike. And one day I got to meet you in person. Come
We
join
did.
us.
We met briefly. We
Oh,
did.
that's right. We did. We did.
At the can't remember the can't. It was so many people there that day.
Yes.
Remember that the
Yes. It was at the police station. Was it?
yes,
Yes. Yes.
yes.
That's true. We did
It
meet
was a
that.
rally. We actually both spoke that day too. Yeah,
Did.
we got a picture together. We did,
And they got me with my arm up.
but
in the
we
air.
didn't get to sit down and have some coffee
Right.
or a drink or dinner or something like a lot of other people do. So maybe someday we'll get to do that.
We will. We're going to celebrate Karen's.
Yeah,
success.
exactly. I can't
Celebrate.
wait for the party, Rita.
I can't wait either.
I can't wait till this is over to
gonna
have
be
a big
epic.
celebration. Yeah.
Absolutely. Mike, thank you so much. I'll come
Thank
on
you.
anytime you
And
want.
give us, from the audience, everyone watching, give love to the, I know you're going to see the
Oh,
Karen
yes.
Reed family tomorrow.
Yes.
Tell them
yes.
we're all
I
praying for
always
them.
give love. They
We're
are
all
the
with them.
best people. The best people. I mean, Mr. Reed, Mrs. Reed, Kelly, all of them, Nathan, and all the friends. They are the best people. And it's really an honor to support them. It really is. And, good is going to come of this. Good is going to come of it. I know it. And I'm looking forward to that day.
Awesome. Thank you so much for
Okay,
being here
thank
tonight,
you.
Rita.
All
Have a
right.
great night.
Okay. Good night.
Good
Good
luck
night,
tomorrow.
everybody. Thanks for hanging. Hey, what was your final number?
Oh, you know what? We just dropped down. It was like, I think we got up to 1,600 at one point.
Oh, nice.
As
Nice.
soon as 9 o'clock hits, we
they're going to
lost
see
about
me.
400 people to go see Turtle Boy. That's okay. We still got 900 people watching us right now.
Awesome.
And then we just admitted we're logging off. Usually,
Yeah.
the last 5 minutes of the show, people are like, okay, I can hang up now.
Yeah. Right.
But
Right. Right.
we
right.
still got 900. That's a lot of people tonight.
Awesome.
Yeah,
All right, listen.
I can't wait to see how many watch the replay too. That's always the real true test of time.
That's true too. That's true
Yeah.
too. All right.
Thank you so much for
Absolutely.
being here tonight, Rita.
Thank you.
Love you. We will talk soon.
Yes. Okay. Bye-bye.
That's Rita Lombardi. She's one of the best around in Canton. I want to thank everyone for listening and watching and supporting tonight. Had a lot of listeners. I definitely want to check. Thank you so much for the donations on the super chats. We got a super chat from Dreamer Thinker. He said, this is worth a lot more than $20, Mike. Thank you, Reader. Here's to you. We're also lucky to learn from and with you both. Thank you so much, Dreamer Thinker. And I think we asked this question. Yes, we did. SMAX617. Thank you so much for the donation tonight on the super chat. Free Karen Reed. He's also, or they, I'm not sure if it's a guy or girl. They are on X. They wanted a little shameless plug on X. It's a good account to follow. Free Karen Reed. I follow it. Definitely check them out. Thank you for the donation tonight. And John Barron, 1921. Thank you for being a member now for a month. You can join our membership on YouTube. We haven't done any member shows. We may have eventually do those. We're starting to get a good number of members, so it's probably time. I really appreciate everyone who's been supporting us and sending the donations and watching us. Just checking the Venmo. I don't think we got any tonight, which is kind of surprising because we had so many people watching, but it's okay. I really thank you all. The last few nights have been phenomenal. You guys have been kicking in, watching, sharing, liking, and that's the most important thing for me is the people watching and loving it and commenting and sharing it. So I want to thank everyone for doing that, coming through for us. And I want to thank you that we're over 9,000 subs on YouTube. That's so amazing. I never thought we would get there. And how quickly, oh my God, we're at 9,242 right now. which is friggin' amazing. Because like we broke 9,000 yesterday. So it's amazing. To get over 200 in a day is just, it's pretty amazing. I think we'll be at 10,000 by next week. Let's try to do it by midweek if we can. Thank you so much. I'll see everyone tomorrow, 9 a.m. We'll be broadcasting. Karen Reed. No commentary. We just play the audio, play the video, and then we talk about it later at night. I know on Tuesday night, we're going to have a couple of attorneys here, I believe, to talk about another case and some other stuff going on in another county, Bristol County in Massachusetts, about their DA and some of the shady stuff they've been doing, but also how they feel about the Karen Reed case. So check out that Tuesday night. I'm not sure about tomorrow night. I haven't figured it out yet, but I'm going to definitely ask Betterow if he wants to come back again and talk about the witness testimony tomorrow. So Monday night, tomorrow night, I don't know yet, but I'm expecting to do a show. Just check the notifications tomorrow on our YouTube. I want to thank everyone for supporting us. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a good night, everyone.